In my continuing series, VELSHI Across America, I had the chance to meet with 6 voters in Fremont, Ohio yesterday. We had a great conversation on the grounds of the Rutherford B. Hayes Presidential Center, which includes the first presidential library in the United States. It's a beautiful place if you ever get to Fremont, Ohio. We started the conversation talking about what else? Politics. How many of you are registered Republicans? How many of you are registered Democrat? Are there any independents? Thank you. Susan, I'm going to start with you. Please tell me who you're voting for and why.
I'm voting for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris because I have several reasons, several issues. One of them is the ACA and the presumptive illness, or not presumptive illness, but pre-existing conditions, because I myself have one. And then I'm also very concerned about climate change and the EPA deregulations. I live on this beautiful Lake Erie in Sandusky, Ohio, and you know, we fish, we boat, and the deregulation of the EPA for the waterways, and that concerns me. And also the racial and social injustice in this country is just horrible. We shouldn't be doing this in 2020.
I'm going to vote for President Trump. I think that over the last 4 years, personally, I think we've seen an improvement in the country compared to the previous administration. One of my biggest issues is the Second Amendment. The Democrats seem to kind of not be as for the Second Amendment in most cases compared to President Trump is. Simply put, the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, in my opinion. And I don't think that taking away the Second Amendment rights is conducive to this country. Another thing is I'd say for the military, I think President Trump has done a better job in kind of undoing some of the problems that I'd witnessed when I was in the Marines. During the previous administration, there was a lot of budget cuts for the Marine Corps. There was a lot of just reducing this country's defense. And I think it's starting to get back to what it should be. And I'm afraid that if Joe Biden is elected, it's going to go back to not so much reducing the budget for the military. And I think that's not a good thing for this country, because if you can't defend our country, then there's no way to protect us.
I'm voting for Vice President Joe Biden. First and foremost, I believe that he creates an environment that is less divisive. I think that President Trump's presentation allows for less social and less social equity. I believe that Joe Biden has a better temperament I've never seen in the history, or since I've been alive, where a president has been so divisive as to just demonize the opposite party. And I just don't think that's good for America.
Well, I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, and primarily it's because I think Joe is a decent human being. He's compassionate. He's grew up from middle class as opposed to coming from a golden tower. I like the idea of what he's talking about on building on the ACA. We didn't need to get rid of it like Donald Trump wants to do and has no plan. He's promised for 4 years and he still hasn't come up with a plan. I think Joe Biden's approach to education, what he wants to do to get the people, and particularly the middle class in our country, better educated, I think is good. And I like his idea of how he's going to bring back good jobs for future and not worry about, are we going to bring more coal mining jobs back? So I think Joe Biden's character, I think he's got plans, and I think he really understands middle America, because that's where he came from.
As an independent, I'm voting for Joe Biden simply because I don't really see any choice for independents. We're more concerned about process than actual party affiliation. And it seems to me as if the Democrats are less restrictive in their voting rights and the opportunities to allow everyone to vote. she was talking about the ACA and how Joe Biden has some programs and ideas that are responsive to that. I haven't even seen what President Trump intends to do with the ACA. He says he's going to amend it, but he still hasn't produced anything that I can consider. And as an independent, I don't want to be just taken for granted that I'm going to always vote independent. Give us a chance, give us more information so that we can make some choices. And we really haven't had a choice.
I'm a little bit different because I don't particularly care for either candidate. But I am 100% voting Joe Biden because I believe in equality. I believe in the rights of every human being. And I believe if we stay on this track for another 4 years, that we're going to see a lot of changes in the wrong direction instead of moving forward just among human decency. So I'm voting Biden.